Hello everybody, this is Atene Shaprali and we're going to talk a little bit about H1B for startups. As you know, the H1B season is opening and a lot of people asking questions. If you're a startup, can you file an H1B? As you all know, there is something that is going on depending what kind of startups we're talking about here. If we're talking startups in terms of IT consulting firm, you will be falling under the rules of what we call the agent rule, and you will have to prove employer-employee relationship. But this is not this video covers startups like companies who are just basically coming up with an idea and are getting funded and are going to move forward, and they need to hire some people on H1B to work for them. And the big question I get, okay, we are a startup, we just opened up, what do we do? Can we file for an H1B? So as you can see on the screen, I wrote an article about this, I think 1 year ago, but it's still good, this article. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the startups and how they can use the H1B efficiently to be able to hire people in their company. So one of the things which is important, first of all, if you're a startup, what you need to prove in order to get an H1B, for one, you have to prove that the worker is going to work in a specialty occupation. And there are a lot of writing right now on the specialty occupation. And the best way to understand it is that it is understood that this will require a minimum of 4-year bachelor's degree. And basically, you need a bachelor's degree. You need the job where someone requires a bachelor's degree so that you can file for an H1B and also for an L1. So in this case, we're talking about H1B, so we'll limit ourselves to the H1B. And the 4-year bachelor's degree is the equivalent of the US 4 years bachelor. So for example, someone can have a 3-year bachelor's degree, I'm sorry, and then they can have 3 years of experience, which will compensate for that 1 year. Because for each 1 year of education, 3 years of experience will compensate for that. If you add it together, do a good credential evaluation, that person will have a bachelor's degree equivalent, US equivalent bachelor's degree. And at this point now, the job also has to qualify. If it is a bachelor's, if this job requires a bachelor's degree. One of the ways to know that is to go on this website. Right now you are on the website of Pirali Law, our website for the article. And one way to do that is a website called FLC Data Center. It is FLC Data Center. And as you can see here, this is a foreign labor certification data center. And if you if you go on the FLC wage research, for example, we are in California, you put California, you continue, you put, let's say here we're using Alameda, and let's say software engineer, you type it. Okay, like I said, you see software engineer, it doesn't appear directly, so what you need to do is just type the word software. Okay, unfortunately they don't have this. As you can see right now, you have the computer programmers and everything related to software engineering position, because most startups, especially if you're in the Silicon Valley, will be related to that. I click on the first one and you can see here there is a description of all the jobs that are under this code, the 1511. I'm using this example, by the way. That doesn't mean it has to be that for your candidate, but I'm just using an example how to use this. This becomes the ONET online book. This is what we use usually to do our H1B. And then what you can do, if you go on the bottom of it, you look at this at the job zone. This is a job zone 4. If it is a 5, you're pretty much sure it is in a specialty occupations. But here it will kind of require that most of these occupations requires a 4-year bachelor's degree, but some do not. This is where it becomes tricky, because USCIS tend to say, no, this is not a specialty occupation, so you need to be careful. And this is where your lawyer has to really kind of load the H1B to explain that this is a specialty occupation. And then from this, you can even get an idea what is the salary, etc. So it is a very good tool to use when you're doing your preparing for the H1B for a startup or for any H1B, by the way. So now let's go back to our startup position. First of all, the H1B, once you know that your candidate has a 4-year bachelor's degree and you know that the occupation itself will qualify for a for a an H1B and their specialty occupation, the next step you have to know about your startup is, do you have enough money to pay that candidate? If you go here on the ONET book, you can also get the wage summary, which usually is at the bottom, and it will kind of give you an idea how much you should pay that person or wages and that. So here, like here, for Alameda in California, and each state has different, each county is different. The median is $37.28 an hour and $77,000 per year. So minimum you have to pay that. So you have to make sure that you are compliant with that. Otherwise, your LCA, which is something that needs to be filed in the case, will not be approved. So it is very important that you look at this. And going back to here now, once you know the salary, you have to prove you have enough money to pay that person. If you're an IT firm and you're placing that a consulting firm company, you're placing that person, you can easily prove that you will get so and so income, and with that income you will pay your candidate. But if you are a startup and your candidate is going to work on projects in-house, you need to at least show that you have income or expected income to prove that that person, you will have enough to pay that person. So it's very important to show that. So number 3 for a startup, um, it's you have to prove, of course, that you have actual work for your employee, because you cannot just be filing a bunch of H1Bs and you have no work for them, because that ultimately will hurt you. So make sure that you have work and you have specific projects which you can explain in the paperwork of the H1B, what they are going to work on. And also, if you want to bring employees to work in the company, if the startup can show that they need the foreign workers, and their workers can be approved, the explanation can be need to be addressed and reviewed carefully by an experienced immigration attorney. What happened, even though you're meeting all those requirements, many people just think you just cut and paste it there, it will work. Unfortunately, it's not. Right now, the H1B petitions is no longer purely factual. It's becoming very legal. And you require a lawyer who understands how to merge law and facts. And this is where many people make the mistakes of trying to file their own H1B or hire non-lawyers to do it. And they end up by not only losing the case, but getting sometimes into fraudulent cases. And the other questions, of course, for those who want to transfer people to their company who are already on H1B, yes, you can, of course, if you meet the above requirements that I mentioned or the requirements that I mentioned earlier, you should be able to transfer. Having said that, now I just give you a few tips if a startup can file for H1B. The short answer is, of course, yes, and we do a lot of cases for startups. So if you're a startup out there and you need help, feel free to call our office at 510-742-5887. And also, if you want to visit our website, you can see it at the top. It's piralilaw.com. And I joined a link on the bottom of this YouTube video. You will see the link. And just to let you know, whatever I give you as information right now is very minimal in terms of how to do an H1B. It's just basically to tell startups, yes, they can do an H1B. There are many things that goes into many things that go into an H1B processing. So having the help of an experienced lawyer is of utmost importance. Our law firm has been handling H1Bs for more than 11 years now, and we are very proud of that, and hopefully we should be able to help you too. So just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, anything I told you today is for educational purposes only. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. The number to call to the office is 510-742-5887. Thank you.